Hello everybody, my name is David Robinson. Last time we talked about human wisdom versus God's wisdom. Well, I told you that we'd be talking about love and abuse. The main reason why I picked this is because I see so much hatred and the world is hostile about Jesus, about talking about Jesus. In so many different ways, they take God's name in vain, and they don't care much about Jesus. They just act like they want to leave him out of everything that they do. Well, Jesus, he was always kind to his enemies, and he loved everybody around him, and he would always forgive. Well, the Bible says if someone has sinned against you 7 times in one day, you still forgive them because it's the right thing to do. Well, in the school system today, I see many different kids going about and not doing the right thing. They want to do what they want to do. Right then and there, they want to disobey what the teacher says, and they want to do what they want to do. Well, each of us want to do what we want to do in times in our life, but what we want to do is not always the best way to go, because it can cause us some problems. See, it's better just to stay on God's path rather than make our own path so that we can walk alone. Well, it's not good to walk alone because that's when the devil comes in and tries to tempt us to do things, and he causes us to be distracted and gets our minds off things that what we really need to do. Now, the important thing is that I want to tell you that love and abuse cannot dwell together. It won't work. You can do it, but it won't work. Because love is a powerful, powerful thing. See, love is not all about emotional feeling. Love is not completely about emotional feeling. Now, the reason why I say that is because when we say that we love somebody, we don't want to just tell them that by our words. We want to show it by our actions and how we feel about that person by our actions. That's the true meaning. Not just being emotional about that word and about your friends or your family, but also acting upon that word by showing it by your actions. See, it's very, very important about that. Well, the reason why I say love and abuse cannot dwell together is because when you forgive, like I was just talking to you about, if a person has sinned against you 7 times in one day, you still gotta forgive them. Well, to an extent, on your part, you play a big part in it because, well, God says if you don't forgive, then He won't forgive you. In fact, Jesus said that we ought to forgive and love thy neighbor as thyself. That's important. Love is of value, great, great value. It's of more value than a thumbtack or a laptop or anything else that you're getting for Christmas. See, Christmas gifts should not even be our main priority. And love is an important thing throughout, not just Christmas, but all throughout. Because when forgiveness is there and people make mistakes along our lifetime, we need to forgive them, because if we don't forgive them, there's no love showing at all. Now, people, they can talk about and do what they want to do because they're going to anyway, regardless of what anybody else says or wants them to do. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. But what they want to do is not always the right thing. And what we want to do is not always the right thing. But it's important that we make the best of everything that we do. We're not trying to be better than anybody else. We're just trying to do the best that we can do as people, humans. We want to do the very, very best that we can do. Because if we're not doing if we're trying to be better than everybody else and we become the best, then we're not going to have any challenges to work towards, to work stronger and harder and have more challenges, because the challenges just makes us stronger. So without those challenges, we can't get any stronger. So it's important that we keep going through challenges. Now, I'm not saying to put ourselves out there and just start challenging. Well, we can challenge ourselves. It's always good to have those challenges. But we also need to be careful because that's where the devil comes in. Most people, they like to put a limit on things. I want to ask you a question. Do you put a limit on forgiveness? Do you put a limit on how much you forgive people daily? Well, I'll tell you that that wouldn't be the best thing in the world to do, to put a limit on forgiveness in your lifetime, because limits on forgiveness limits the amount of love that you're giving to that person. Now just think about that for a minute. Limits. What your limitations are and what your abilities are is very important to remember. But oftentimes people use their opinions and hold it against another person. Well, the Bible says be kind to everyone that you meet. That's what it says. Cheating, lying, and stealing, it's all going to be punished because justice punishes crime, wrongdoing, and evil. There's so much evil in the world today that it's hard for Christians to work. But that's not stopping us. That will not stop us for any reason. So just remember that God is able to work things out for you. He will always work it out for you. He's never left you out of the picture. He's never not thought about you. He's always been there for you to help you. But when you need help truly, just keep looking up to the Father which is in heaven. Just keep looking. But you gotta seek His face, and you've got to have the right motivation and the right mindset to pray to Him. So just remember that God will help you in time of trouble. And remember, don't put a limit on forgiveness and love, and abuse, I didn't talk too much about that. Abuse with our words. See, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Abuse with words, can cause some major problems in our lives, because with our words, the devil wants us to say things, terrible things. And the Bible says, for we shouldn't get angry, we shouldn't let filthy communication come out of our mouth. So we have to be very, very careful about what we say to people. So just remember that love, don't put a limit on love, and don't ever put a limit on forgiveness. Just remember that. God bless you, and have a wonderful day, and goodbye.